Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Max Verstappen has officially confirmed his participation in the legendary 24 Hours of Nürburgring, marking his first major step into endurance racing while still competing in Formula One. This news, revealed by Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko, puts an end to weeks of speculation about whether Verstappen would pursue competition outside F1 following his recent licensing process in Germany. In order to compete, Verstappen was required to complete all the strict prerequisites established by German motorsport authorities. This included passing a theoretical exam, undergoing mandatory training sessions, and earning the special Grade A license, which grants drivers the right to compete professionally on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. These requirements applied to Verstappen just as they do to any other driver, despite his 3 Formula One World Championships. Marko himself commented on the licensing process, even joking about the situation, noting how unusual it was for a driver of Verstappen's caliber to prove his ability to handle a 240-horsepower GT car. Still, Verstappen approached the challenge with complete seriousness. He participated in multiple sessions under varied conditions, including wet weather qualifying, and impressed observers with consistently fast and controlled laps. His efforts were rewarded with a 7th-place finish in his class and 27th overall, further underlining his readiness for endurance racing. For Verstappen, the Nürburgring project is not a casual diversion, but rather a long-held dream. The Dutchman has spoken frequently about his passion for endurance racing and his admiration for the demanding nature of the Nordschleife. Competing in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring represents not only a personal ambition, but also a chance to expand his career into new areas of motorsport. Marko confirmed that Verstappen's primary target was always to secure a place in the 2026 edition of the event, but with the process completed ahead of schedule, his debut has been moved up. However, the advisor also dismissed the idea of Verstappen taking part in the 24 Hours of Le Mans for now, citing the significantly higher risks posed by the wide performance gap between categories on that track. According to Marko, Le Mans is not on the table at the moment, while Nürburgring will be the exclusive focus of Verstappen's endurance endeavors. This decision also reflects Verstappen's cautious but deliberate approach to building his racing legacy beyond Formula One. With the Nordschleife being one of the most challenging circuits in the world, a strong performance there will only enhance his reputation as one of the most versatile and fearless drivers of his generation. Looking further ahead, Verstappen has hinted that he could one day expand his involvement in endurance racing, potentially even as a team owner. Reports indicate that preparations are already underway for Verstappen.com Racing to have a greater presence in GT and endurance events. Such a move would not only allow him to compete, but also shape the development of younger drivers and teams in the sport. The 2026 Nürburgring 24 Hours will now mark Verstappen's official debut in one of endurance racing's crown jewels. It offers him a new platform to showcase his skills and adds another chapter to a career already filled with records and milestones. For fans, it represents the rare chance to see a Formula One star compete in one of motorsport's most unpredictable and grueling events. One of the things that has always been part of Formula One is not only the racing itself, but also the political games being played behind the scenes. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this update. Recently, a rumor began circulating that Ferrari was lagging behind in the development of its 2026 power unit. On the surface, this sounded like a major problem for the legendary Italian team, especially with the new regulations coming in just 2 years. However, according to the highly respected outlet Racing News 365, this supposed delay was nothing more than a carefully orchestrated strategy aimed at damaging Ferrari's reputation in the technical job market. The idea behind spreading such a rumor is straightforward. By making it seem like Ferrari is struggling and falling behind, rival teams hope to make Maranello a less attractive destination for top engineers. And this timing is far from accidental. Right now, every team is intensively recruiting specialists to prepare for the massive regulation overhaul in 2026. Casting doubt on Ferrari's readiness could push potential hires toward other outfits, such as Mercedes, Red Bull, or even newcomers like Audi. The speculation intensified after the departure of Wolf Zimmermann and Lars Schmidt, two engineers who left Ferrari to join Audi's project. At first glance, their exit looked like a serious setback. But in reality, their work on Ferrari's future car had already been completed months ago. The leadership of the power unit program is now firmly in the hands of Enrico Galtieri, the head of Ferrari's engine department, and insiders report that dyno tests for the new unit are already scheduled. This clearly contradicts any notion that Ferrari is behind schedule. In fact, sources suggest that Ferrari's 2026 engine has been designed to operate at higher internal temperatures with reduced heat exchange requirements, giving it a unique edge in efficiency. Furthermore, the team has integrated innovative fluid dynamic solutions and strengthened its aerodynamic package thanks to the addition of Frank Sanchez, another respected figure in the technical world. Taken together, these developments suggest that Ferrari is not only on schedule, but may actually be ahead of the curve, with enough breathing room to test bold new ideas rather than rushing to catch up. Meanwhile, a silent war is unfolding in the engineering job market. Ferrari and Mercedes are leading the charge, both heavily recruiting to bolster their staff before the 2026 reset. Some insiders believe Mercedes will enter the new era with a slight advantage. But what's equally clear is that the narrative of Ferrari being late is little more than a political maneuver designed to weaken Maranello's pull. In truth, Ferrari appears far from vulnerable and is moving with a deliberate strategy to prepare for the next generation of cars and engines. What this episode highlights is how politics in Formula One can be just as intense as the racing itself. Rumors, leaks, and strategic misinformation are part of the game, and teams will go to great lengths to protect their secrets while undermining their rivals. For Ferrari, dismissing these claims is not just about protecting its image, but also about ensuring it can continue to attract the brightest minds to work on its ambitious 2026 project. Looking ahead, the competition off the track promises to be just as fascinating as what we'll see on it. With Ferrari determined to re-establish itself at the very top, Mercedes aiming to maintain its legacy of dominance, and Red Bull trying to carry its success into the new regulations, the stage is set for a battle of innovation, recruitment, and strategy. The development race is already in full swing, even if the new cars won't appear for another 2 years. As Formula One heads into Azerbaijan Grand Prix week, much of the discussion off the track is centered around Andrea Kimi Antonelli and his uncertain future with Mercedes. The young Italian has been under pressure for several weeks, and his latest difficult outing at Monza has only fueled further debate about whether Mercedes should keep faith in him or consider an alternative path. Antonelli, brought in at the start of 2025 to replace Lewis Hamilton, was regarded as the future cornerstone of Mercedes. He began his rookie season with promise, securing a pole in a sprint race and even finishing on the podium. However, since the summer break, his performances have dipped significantly, with costly mistakes and inconsistent pace becoming more frequent. Even Toto Wolff, who had been Antonelli's strongest public defender, shifted his tone after Monza by offering rare criticism, suggesting that the pressure of Formula One at the highest level is starting to weigh heavily on the teenager. This has reopened speculation about a potential reshuffle involving Carlos Sainz. According to former driver Ralf Schumacher, now a commentator for Sky Sports, Mercedes is actively considering the idea of loaning Antonelli to Williams while promoting Sainz to the senior team. Schumacher explained that he had heard things behind the scenes and believes such a move could benefit both sides. Mercedes would gain an experienced and proven driver in Sainz, while Antonelli would have a less pressurized environment to continue his development. The idea itself is not new. Back in late 2024, when Antonelli was still in Formula 2 and showing signs of inconsistency, discussions reportedly took place about bringing in Sainz as a stopgap for one season, allowing Antonelli to gain mileage at Williams. At that time, however, negotiations fell apart. Sainz wanted a longer contract with firm guarantees, while Wolff decided to take the risk of placing Antonelli directly into Hamilton's vacated seat. That decision saw Sainz eventually sign with Williams. Now, though, the narrative has shifted. Antonelli's struggles have been amplified by Mercedes' desire to remain competitive against McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. The pressure on Mercedes to deliver results has led to the question: Is it too much to expect a 19-year-old rookie to carry the weight of one of the most successful teams in modern F1? One key detail is the nature of Sainz's current contract with Williams. Built into the agreement is an escape clause that allows the Spaniard to leave if a front-running team makes an approach. Given the lack of experienced drivers currently available on the market, Sainz stands out as one of the few viable options if Mercedes decides Antonelli needs time elsewhere. With over a decade of experience and multiple race wins, Sainz offers the kind of stability and technical feedback that could accelerate Mercedes' development program heading into the 2026 regulation changes. For Antonelli, a lone move to Williams would mirror the career paths of other successful drivers who were allowed to learn in less pressurized environments. At Williams, he would face fewer expectations of immediate victories, providing space to refine his racecraft without the constant scrutiny of being compared to the very best. On the other hand, keeping him at Mercedes would force him to adapt quickly and develop resilience under pressure, something Wolff has historically valued. As things stand, Mercedes' patience is not infinite. The next rounds will be crucial for Antonelli to prove he belongs at the sharp end of the grid. If his performances do not improve, the rumors of a Sainz switch could very well materialize into reality. For now, the debate continues. Should Mercedes double down on its long-term gamble with Antonelli, or is the smarter move to bring in Sainz and let the rookie grow away from the spotlight?